Man, everybody's been talking Chicago Bears faithful about the draft. Okay. What are we going to do with all the moving parts, with all the missing pieces, with all the musical chairs? We have to do something. What's it going to be? Who are we going to draft? Where are we going to go? We don't know. I mean, you look at all of the insiders and none of them nail it. All of the potential players that the Bears are looking at, they didn't go get any of them. Not one guy did they go get. Colson Loveland was not on the radar, and that's one thing that the Bears are very quiet about is the draft. We did not know what was going to happen, okay? We're going to talk about it. We're going to try to get into it. We got a special guest calling in here in a little bit. Okay, like I've said before, you never know who's going to call in. You guys can call in the CSP hotline, leave a message, comment, or question for the show, 872-256-1424. We have a very special guest coming on tonight, so give it about 10 minutes or whatever, and he'll be calling in. So, but yeah, we're going to get right into it. We're going to pick his brain, see what direction they're going, see what need, what position we're going to start off with. What's the most important? We're going to break it all down right after this.
Hops on the ice, red lights flash, goods in the summer, whole city mad. Tracks like a tone, nigga ran for the sound. City ride with it, yeah, this our town. It's Chicago. Fucking here we live in Chicago. Sports podcast, yeah, we in it. Cut the take, cut the call. Whole city tell me when we turn the ball. It's Chicago. Let's pay, lean in. Chicago. Sports podcast, yeah, this spin. Same heart, same code. Sports podcast, hey, let's go.
So with the big buzz of the trades, man, and everything that's going on, the free agency, it's all lighting up. All kinds of things are going on. They got the cap space, trying to figure that out. Everybody. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, today I see the news about the Bears need to figure out where their home is soon. Okay. So lots going on. I thought that after we had a miraculous run into the playoffs and we did so well that we were going to take a little break and, look into other Chicago sports. And we do, we talk about them, but it's always going to be the top sport in the darling, okay, as they would say, the darling of Chicago is the Chicago Bears. Okay. So everybody else is second fiddle, I would say. So, but yeah, let's get right into that 2026 NFL draft, man. Because, like I said, with the major questions at safety, Chicago is doing its homework right now. The Chicago Bears are definitely doing their homework. They're doing their due diligence, and we are too, right? According to PFF, though, one of the trusted names out there, two names are rising to the top of the board, okay, for safety. The Bears have been linked to two of the most versatile safeties in class. Everybody's talking about this guy. I mean, there's not a place that you can't open a blog, you can't go to a website, you can't go to Facebook. Everywhere, everybody is talking about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren from Toledo, and rightfully so. Okay, he's physical, he's instinctive, and a true playmaker. Okay, somebody that we need. We need a true safety. Now, I know Doug Plank, think he might be on the show Saturday. We got some surprises. Potentially Mike Singletary will be on Thursday. And then next week, we have a whole bunch of guests coming on because you guys know in the off season, we bring in a lot of people, right? And we're using that hotline. So stay tuned for all of the amazing, Chicago Bear legends that are coming on. But he said, as a safety, if your safety is your number one tackler, you got a problem because he's the last line of defense. So the one thing I want to ask him as a safety is, do you go right after a safety in the first round, or does that come later? Because right now we need to stop the run. And you don't start from the back and you work your way front. To me, you start from the front and you work your way back. So I would approach it as D line, but through his acumen, through his, level of play, we're going to ask him that question. Tonight, we're going to ask Lester Wiltfong, okay, the senior editor of Windy City Gridiron. They've got millions of impressions every month. Great group of guys. They've been on the show many times. Him, Jacob Infante, all of them, man. They've been on here. That we love them. But again, the Bears are not linked to one, but two. And they're early in the draft. They're in the first round. Okay. And I will say Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, Toledo, again. And then Dillon Thieneman from Oregon. High IQ safety, right? Very smart, intelligent man. Okay. With range and ball skills. Could one of these two guys be the answer to Chicago's defensive backfield needs? I'm going to dive into 3 potential draft steals the Bears could target later in the draft and players that could provide depth and inside and upside and long-term value both on the defense and offensive line. So, I mean, this draft class is stacked. We all know that, right? There's hidden gems that could be the key to building the true contender around Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? So let's get into the debate, man. Who should Chicago take at 25 overall? Okay, McNeil, Warren, or Thieneman? Who's your favorite day 2 or 3 sleeper? You know, what's going on with that? Let us know in the comments and join our conversation, man. Once again, this is brought to you by Chicago Sports Podcast. Subscribe, man. Hit that subscribe button for all of your draft coverage, NFL rumors, and weekly breakdowns. Hit us up, man. We love you guys. So, yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about a couple of the guys that we're interested in. Like I said, that McNeil, man, he's got some speed. You know, he's got some speed. He's got some range. He's tall. He's lengthy. He's fast. So, you know, let me know what you think about him. We're going to go over him in a little bit. Let's take a look at his card right now. Okay. Safety Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, 6'3". Like I said, 6'3", man, that's tall. Over 200 pounds. Okay. He's got some muscle to him. Look at them pipes there. He's not even a full grown man yet. Okay. 22 years old, out of Toledo, 55 total tackles. The guy can tackle, 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles. Okay. 2 pass deflections and a 92.1 PFF grade. Wow. That's sizzling. That's scorching. And that scorched shirt, that's 20, that's just 2025, 2026 season right there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, that's pretty nice there. You know what I mean? But like I said, who's your favorite right now? Who's the guy that interests you the most? Okay. And like I said, there's 3 other prospects who have been linked to the Windy City, man. And we're going to get into that and more. Now, my opinion is, like I said, I want to talk about who is the guy that's fit best for us. Is it a safety? Right now, we're going to play devil's advocate and talk like it is a safety, okay? So let's get into the other guy, okay? Dillon Thieneman. Okay, 6 foot, 201 pounds, so a little shorter, 20 years old, 2 years younger, from Oregon, 92 tackles, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's a tackling machine. Way more tackles, you know, than Emmanuel, okay? I would say. 2 years younger, 2 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, 5 pass deflections, and an 89.9 PFF. So, both are good in their own right, and I could see where either or it would be a huge benefit to bring them in, right? Put them right there with Kobe Bryant, other safety. Let them groom, let them groom them. We got 2 second-round draft picks, so maybe we go back-to-back on the D-line. First round, you go after one of these boys, unless one will drop further on down the road. I will say that. I mean, here's a couple other options. Like I said, who's your favorite though? But here's 3 other prospects that have been linked. Okay. And we're going to, once our guest comes on the show here and gives us a call on the hotline in a little bit, Lester Wiltfong, Windy City Gridiron, chief editor, we're going to go over these guys with him and let him decide. And then we're going to do a mock draft. Okay. He's not really a draft insider. He does have knowledge of these guys, and he'll shoot you straight what position and what he thinks is best. Okay. So, yeah, man, for sure. So here's another guy, edge, Danny Dennison Sutton, 6'6", 256, 22 years old, Penn State. Okay. 42 total tackles, 8.5 sacks, man, 3 forced fumbles, and a near 80 PFF grade, 79.3. Now that would take care of some edge. I don't know. Somebody in the chat, can you please help me out what round he's supposed to potentially go in? Danny Dennis Sutton, please. That would be great. That'd be good. Be very helpful. Thank you so much. This guy looks like he is jacked and ready to go, doesn't he? He looks like he's ready for Chicago Bear uniform. That's what I'd say. I mean, we could use him. I think if I could put another 13 pounds on him, maybe, maybe another 13 pounds. What do you guys think? You think he could beef up a little bit? Maybe 10 pounds? What about this linebacker here? Anthony Hill Jr., 6'2", 238, 21 years old, Texas school. We all know really good ball players from out of there, like Tommy Harris, 70, and Henry Melton. 70 total tackles. Wow. 4 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, almost 73 PFF grade. That's somebody that we could really use as a linebacker for sure. And we're going to tap into Mike Singletary and Urlacher this week and next week, okay? It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when, because they have got very busy schedules, just like you, ladies and gentlemen, do. So out of these 3 guys, there are possibility outside of the safety, and where they all fall. We'll get into the mock draft and see where they're at. We'll keep an eye on those names, and we're going to try to draft these guys wherever we can as best as possible. Okay. So let's see what happens there. But yep, I'm really excited about it. Oh, I think this is our call. Okay. Here we go.
Call from
Lester.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello?
Call from
Lester.
Uh-oh. I think I didn't do it right. He called. Ladies and gentlemen do. So out of these, let me try calling him back. Let's see here. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. 1 second. Here we go. Oh, he was right there. At least we're getting this dialed in early. So that's what I'd say. Here we go. Okay. All right, we're giving him a call. Lester Wiltfong.
This is Lester.
Hey, Lester.
Hello?
Hey, this is Trax. How you doing, buddy?
What's up?
Hey, man. Yeah, so you went to voicemail, and but we got you on the show right now. How you doing tonight?
Good.
Good, man. I'm excited to have you on. So right now we're just breaking down some guys. There's a few guys that they're talking about in the draft, and right now they're pointing at safeties. They're saying there's a huge need at safety, and really quickly, obviously we've had some safeties leave the building. I seen you write about it. We really haven't have much any guys coming back. Just 2 to think of, and and what I'll say is, when I say 2 is because we picked Kobe Bryant up from Seattle. And then we have a backup, but now they're talking about us picking in the first round. I kind of want to pick your brain real quick. I mean, you got a couple guys on top of the dome here that they're interested in. Lester, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. He's from Toledo, 6'3", 201 pounds, 55 total tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 2 pass deflections, 92.1 PFF grade. Now the other guy, a little different acumen, but similar but different. Safety Dillon Thieneman, 6 foot, 201 pounds, so a little shorter. Okay, 20 years old, so 2 years younger. 92 total tackles, so he's tackle machine, almost double. 40 more tackles actually. 2 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, but 5 pass deflections, 89.9 PFF, so almost 90. So out of these two right here, is that a position that you would go for in the first round? Do you think that's a little rich, or is that right where you'd be at if you were playing GM right now, or would you go in another position first round?
I mean, it depends on the board falls. I mean, if like 6 or 7 defensive linemen come off the board and your top safety sitting there, I think you got to weigh weigh your board and figure out what the best option is. If you're better off taking the top safety in your board or the 6th edge, I think you go with the safety and you deal with getting the defensive lineman later.
Yes. Lewis, thank you for the $5 super chat. That's awesome, man. I appreciate you. He says, according to Stick to the Model draft, Danny should be 3rd round currently. So that's a guy we're looking at, an edge. But so best player available is what you're looking at. Now, do you feel like they're kind of doing their due diligence, Lester, and trying to well-round this, this team? So not only will the opponents, Lester, be a little confused at which way the Bears are going because they have a good baseline for all positions, but also it gives them more flex and range to pick best player available instead of picking each draft pick by positional need.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? I mean, the whole goal of free agency is kind of, fill some of your needs. And like the Bears still have obviously some holes at defensive line. Everyone knows they're going to go after an edge or tackle in the draft. And look, this is a pretty good class to get those in. It's, a lot of the pundits say this is a pretty deep class in the D line. So,
yeah,
if you're going into the draft and those are a couple of your top needs, I think that's something you're going to be okay with. But yeah, you don't want to have to be forced to draft needs. It rarely works out where if you go into a draft with a big hole, it's not always there. It worked out for the Bears when they got Darnell Wright. They had a huge hole at right tackle a few years ago.
Yeah.
It just so happened he was the top guy on the board, and it all worked out, right? Sometimes the fates align for you, and that happens, but not always. So I think at this point, I think they're still going to try and pick up another defensive lineman in free agency. There's a couple guys out there, just so they're not kind of pigeonholing themselves and being forced to go with a guy at 25. And look, I mean, if it was me, again, it all depends on the board falls, but
right, if
you can find a team willing to trade up, I think you move back, you take advantage of this deep class at D tackle and D end, and you get a couple guys later.
Okay. Yeah, and I agree with you. So what you're saying is right now you may be going D end or something like that first and then get safety later. But if there's a top one of these two available and you feel like it, but now, okay, so what if you feel like you fortified and got enough depth, but yet you still need 1 or 2 pieces in the draft and you can get them maybe 2nd or 3rd round? Does that change your direction as far as safety goes and bumps that up a little earlier, maybe 1st round?
I mean, it's possible. I mean, It all depends, like I said, how the board falls, how the Bears have their board stacked. Obviously there's possibly going to be 3 safeties in the 1st round. You mentioned, Kip Morgan.
Yeah.
He probably fits in that 1st round spot, but there's some other guys. I mean, the kid from USC, he's expected to go a little later in the draft on day 2. Kamari Ramsey, I think it is. I saw him mock for the Bears on one of the mocks. I forget who did. I think it was CBS. But there's a few other guys. I think the kid from LSU might be a guy they're willing to look at. He'd be healthy.
Yes.
There's a few guys you can get late, but the big thing is, like I said, is you got to address those needs. And I think right now, man, they're really staring at a need at defensive tackle, a need at defensive end, because there's really only 6 on the roster that's really playable, to be honest with you, because of the injuries they have, and you lost some guys. So you got to go get a guy. If you get a guy that I think you have more options, if you kind of stuck, then I think you're stuck going defensive lineman at 25.
Defensive lineman and then a couple of the mock drafts and the one that your buddy and my buddy Jacob, he does that PFT I think that's what it's called, right?
Pro Football Sports Network. Yeah, PFN. Yeah.
PFN. Yeah, so he uses that one a lot, and we use that too. In fact, we're going to do one with you here in a little bit. Yeah, they actually have had Peter Woods slip to us a couple times, and that guy, I mean, wow. If we could get Peter Woods with our 25th pick, he's projected right now at 19. Whether he moves forward or back, that's, just kind of the nature of the draft. You touched on that earlier, but if you could get a guy like Peter Woods in the first round, I mean, wow, that makes it, and Doug's talked about this before, and so is Fensick, and guys like you and me, we talk about it too. Everybody up in the front line makes everybody's job easier. We saw it with the offensive line this year. And I know you talk a lot about the trenches. So do I. We're a trenches guy. And it fit really well. I mean, it made Caleb's job easier. It made the receivers, the running backs. I mean, Swift, he was a man rebirthed, and Ben Johnson was able to cook. And some of the guys went down. They replaced some guys, but they had the steady eddies. The continuity was there. Even though we've had somewhat of a decent sized turnover on the offensive line, I still feel pretty comfortable with what's going on there. And I feel like we got a pretty good base. Now, looking back at, you just said earlier about Darnell Wright, at one point, a lot of us were questioning why we didn't go get Jalen, because Jalen kind of shined and he looked more productive at first, but that was because our whole offensive line as a whole was atrocious. But now with all of the issues with Jalen and whatever, now it's kind of like, okay, now Poles looks like the smarter guy. It was like back and forth, you know what I mean? So, but now I think we're pretty much everybody's on board like, hey, we nailed right, so it's always good to go with the line first, because it makes everybody's job easier. I've heard the linebackers, Urlacher, all those guys have talked on this show about how much a defensive lineman like Tommy Harris or Izzy or whatever can make their job easier for linebackers. And I really feel like our guys in Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards and even Noah School didn't really get a good crack. You didn't get a really good feel because our defensive line wasn't completely solid, primarily in the interior defensive line. Would you throw your stamp on what I'm saying, or is there something that you want to add to this?
No, for sure. I mean, you got to be strong up the middle. I mean, that's what the Bears have truthfully, the Mike, the middle linebacker is always a big deal in Chicago, right? It's like one of the things they always, every generation has their guy, right?
Yeah.
Who's that going to be now? It looked like last year was TJ Edwards, played a bit of the Mike. He's obviously going to be recovering from that, that broken ankle. He may not be ready to go.
Yeah.
They picked up Devin Bush. They brought back Norco Jackson. I'm guessing they're going to draft someone at the position too, because this is supposed to be a pretty strong class at linebacker. Like the way this draft lines up, it's strong in places the Bears need people.
Yeah.
The Bears defense is bad, right? So this draft is pretty strong at D-line. It's pretty strong at linebacker.
Yeah.
And it's pretty strong at safety. So those are 4 spots the Bears really need. So then it kind of all plays in. So you can add a couple big bodies there.
Mm-hmm.
And look, you got to look at how Dennis Allen wants to have his guys. He wasn't a big Andrew Billings guy. He wants more penetrators, up front and in the inside.
Yeah.
He likes his run stuffers to be kind of on the edge, kind of like the reverse of what a lot of coordinators like. But it makes sense. I mean, you want to pressure the quarterback. The quickest way to pressure the quarterback is right up the middle. So if you can make them uncomfortable when you have quick penetrators, I think that's kind of way to go.
Yeah.
If they're that quick and they're penetrating, now maybe they're forced to get doubled. So now again, you talk about now you have those linebackers are free. So that's what you want. You want to, especially in this is pretty much a one gap defense. You want to have everyone have their gap, their control, and you want to all go in there and make some plays.
Yeah, and along with that too, you kind of want their acumen to be able to slide back and forth in and out of positions, if you will. Yes, hand down in the grass, but can you, pedal back, and get into that zone blitz type deal where I think you're coming, but you're dropping back, and now my linebacker's going forward to, change it up a little bit to make the same thing. Everything looks the same, but it's different, and I think if you have a guy like, okay, make no mistake about it, one of the best guys that were available was Trey Hendrickson. A little rich for us right now. Next year, a little different when we have $111 million available. But to what you just said about Dennis Allen, he wants guys to play very diversely. And what I mean by that is not only rush, but also to stop the run. And that just didn't fit the mold of what Dennis Allen wants in Trey Hendrickson. So that was an easy pass. Now, there's other guys like Max Crosby that's a little bit more difficult to pass on, but in terms of money, that's obvious. And here's that we just have to pass on that because it's just way too rich for us right now. Now, I will say this, though. What we're looking at right now is a really good situation to where even though we're drafting late, we have a good amount of picks. We didn't wager all our picks away and a little nervous now. We're going in without Ian, and it sounds like at one point that he wanted, and when I say by he, I mean by Ryan Poles, wanted to move up so badly to go get Roma Dunze. And, the story is told that Ian kind of told him to pump the brakes, be patient, he'll fall to us. And it sounded like Ryan was a little, trigger happy, but because Ian was there to help him, now he's not. There's another guy in place there, and I wish him the best. I hope he can be that type of guy that can kind of help, Ryan in that situation. But I like the fact that we have all these draft picks, and we might end up having more. Who knows? I wish we had those compensation picks that the NFL, the Dirty Dogs, took from us. Okay, that would help out even more, right, Lester? But we don't. But at the same time, we're in a really good position, and I would say there's 3 ways to improve your team, right? Free agency, trading, and through the draft. And right now we're getting ready to go through the draft. I do think that you would probably co-sign in saying that you don't win the season or the off season through free agency. You do it through the draft because that's the cheapest way to go fill your team up. And not only that, but these guys are quite honestly a better chance to have less injuries because they haven't been playing as long, right? So, and I think really, if it comes down to it, not all of it is true, but for the most part, Lester, if you're really that good and you're not strapped for cash, your team's going to keep you. Okay. So we're not picking the best fruits in free agency either. Now, I just want to know if we did a mock draft with you right now and you had any pick, where would you be and who would it be? I'm just saying, Lester, out of 32, forget about where you're at. Picks 1 through 32. Who would you pick right now to be immediate impact for the Chicago Bears?
As far as no matter what player?
Yeah, position, player, it doesn't matter. You just think, man, you know what? Boom. If he gets on our team's going to be immediately better. Who would you want?
Yeah, I mean, the running back from Notre Dame, everyone's saying he's a difference maker.
Jeremiah Love.
There's Ruben Bain, the edge from Miami. He's going to cut a little quicker than him off the board. There's a few guys out there that are really blue chip talent, but again, it all comes down to where the Bears are sitting at 25. So these guys are kind of out of the range. I think Sonny Styles, even though he's a linebacker, that guy's going to go a little earlier than 25, but that would be fun. There's a few guys in the draft. Caleb Downs, we're talking safety. He's going to be a first safety off the board. I mean, he's definitely fit with the Bears need right now. So I don't see the Bears trading up for these guys. I think they're gonna stand pat at 25, kind of see what happens if the board falls to them.
Yeah.
And like I said, I really do think that if a team is willing to move up, if someone falls, like if one of these wide receivers falls in the draft, if a quarterback, if there's a run on quarterback, maybe a team wants to kind of move up for a quarterback. You got to hope that someone wants to move up, and if that happens, now the Bears go back. They can get their nose tackle in round 2. They can get a defensive end in round 2.
Okay.
They can get their safety in round 2. Just go back a little bit. I think that's the best way to go.
Can I ask you a question? Now, if a guy like Sonny Styles is available in, let's say, top 10, right? He's supposed to fall within the top 10. What would it cost for us to move from 25 up there? Would it cost another first-round draft pick next year, or would it cost us one of our seconds, or a second and a late-round pick? Where does it stop in order for you to move up to get a guy like that? Is it worth it to get a guy like Sonny Styles?
Yeah, I think it's worth going up for a linebacker. I mean, if you're looking to move up, I mean, like the Dillon Johnson trade chart, that's the oldest right out there, but that's still probably the most true as far as the point values go. If you're looking to kind of get an idea of how the trade should fall, take a look at that Jimmy Johnson trade chart. That's usually the best one to use right now.
Okay. Once again, you guys are talking to Lester Wiltfong. He is the Windy City Gridiron chief editor, and you're talking to him on the CSP hotline. This is where we leave messages, comments, or questions for the show. He called 872-256-1424, and you can too. We've had a lot of calls in lately, and thank God we got Lester on here, the man that does a lot of writing. Now, have you done, so we had Jim Miller on yesterday. Have you done any pieces on the linebacker out of Pittsburgh? I think his name is Kyle. Does that ring a bell, from the linebacker out of Pittsburgh?
I mean, Jacob Esfani is our guy. He's a lead draft analyst. He's He's got a show coming up on Thursday.
Yeah.
Jacob Esfani already sent it in the Chicago draft room. They'll be having their live Thursday talking about the draft. So, any draft questions, probably hit him up on Second City Gridiron. As far as me, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm looking him up now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for me, like I said, I've watched some linebacker stuff just because, I know the Bears are looking for guys.
Yeah.
Like most fans, I like Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech.
Rodriguez.
I think he's going to go a lot higher than a lot of people think he will.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about Sonny Styles, just a phenomenal athlete. But yeah, it's a pretty deep linebacker class.
So would you say for you, from where you're at right now, where you sit, would you say it'd be Sonny 1 and then Rodriguez 2?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, Styles is a consensus top guy.
Yeah.
The rest kind of like, depends what you need, right? I mean, what do you need? You need a Mike, you need a Will. Again, then some teams just don't value linebackers like that. I mean, we saw, the Lions got clowned a few years ago because they picked a linebacker up high in the draft, but that guy's a pretty good football player for them. So
right.
Each team will have their board stacked differently. Each team has varying needs. Each team values positions differently. It's funny how it's all cyclical, right? It's coming back into vogue. Like running backs are not going in the first round again. Before you, it was unheard of for the longest time. All their dime a dozen. Now it's like you're realizing you get a top running back, top linebacker, top safety. Again, not premier positions, but they can be difference makers. You get the right guy on your scheme and what you're doing on defense. I think it matters. Yeah,
and right now you got Lester Wiltfong, Windy City Gridiron, and if you got any questions for him while he's on the show, please let me know, and I will pass them along to him. So he's watching too on YouTube. Here's the deal. I got a question for you. Linebacker Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas, 6'2", 238, 21 years old, Texas, 70 total tackles, 4 sacks. So that's good because, the linebackers we didn't get a lot of that. 3 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, almost a 73 PFF grade. Is that somebody that you think could help us out, as far as picking him up and putting him on our team? And here's another guy too. You were talking about edge. So Donnie Dennis Sutton from Penn State, 6'6", 256. He looks like he's jacked, ready to play, number 33. Kind of a weird number for an edge. It's kind of freaking me out right now. Not going to lie. Penn State, 42 total tackles, 8.5 sacks. So that's pretty rich up there, right? I like that. 3 forced fumbles and 79 PFF grade. So those 2 guys right there, they sound pretty good, right? That would be some guys that you'd want to pick up for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds about right. I mean, like I said, they need an edge. It's something they're going to get.
Yeah.
They should double up on D-line. I mean, I'm sure they should get, a couple guys. Like I said, there's only 6 guys really playable on the roster right now because of injuries and guys they lost. So,
right.
They really got to bolster that unit both inside and at defensive end.
Right. Okay, well, let's get this mock draft simulator going so we can get you out of here, man. This mock draft simulator is brought to you by Bridges Scoreboard, your Northwest Indiana Chicago sports headquarters with the coldest beer in Chicagoland and the Hall of Fame menu. Call 219-924-2206. They've got a great spread right now, all the corned beef and all that good stuff for, St. Patty's Day and green beer. So go check them out, man. They got a lot going on right now and some special talent up there, probably playing the pipes and all kinds of good stuff that they do. But yeah, man. And when you're done with that, go get yourself some gourmet popcorn right across the street. They're another sponsor of ours. And, in the morning, go buy the boys some donuts, man. Go buy the boys some donuts, Lester, right there at Donut Depot, man. They'll take care of you. Tell them that Trek sent you. They'll give you a nice little discount and maybe an extra donut, So, yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. All right. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and turn this PFF on. You got you got this on right now? Are you watching the screen?
I got YouTube open. Right now, but I'm not.
Okay.
I don't see it.
Okay.
Yet, so I think we're there's a little delay here between the phone and the YouTube.
I got you. Yep. So we are currently sharing the screen, and once that's up and you can see it, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to enter the full screen so you can see it better. Is it loading or no? Little delay still.
There it is. PFSN. That's Jacob's. That's Jacob's gig right there.
PFSN, man. Yeah, man. We love this, man. If they could get rid of all the pop-ups, it'd even be better. I would pay to get rid of these pop-ups, baby. That's my only, caveat here. But here we go. So this is going to be fast. And, Chicago Bears. Now let me ask you a question. Do you want to go with trades or without trades? How do you want to approach this, Lester? This is your call. You're our GM, bro.
Oh, nice. Like I said, I think the best bet is for the Bears to trade back. But again, it depends who's there. A lot of times when you do trades with these simulators, they're not always the most realistic. So I think they kind of keep it as close to realism as possible.
Okay.
Maybe go no trades.
No trades all the way through. Okay, and then once you get up,
otherwise we're going to get a stacked draft, right? It's going to be stacked. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. Man, look at this breakfast haul. This is already working on me. I want breakfast for dinner, even though I already had dinner at the top. That McDonald's, they're working on me right now, man. Oh boy. All right, here we go, brother. Let's rock. Man, so how you been, man? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How about you? Everything going good?
Yeah. Can't complain. I got off a little earlier today. Tomorrow's a double. You know how that goes at Steel Mill. But yeah, man. And then I got you on the show. It doesn't get any better than that. You were one of the first that's ever was like, yeah, I guess I'll do a track. So so we got right off the way, and I know you said we're gonna wait, but I'm just want to share these with you while they're here, just so you could hear what these potential trades are, but we'll move on. So they want our 25th pick. Cincinnati does. They want to give us their 41 and then 61 in next year's third. Now, whenever we do trade on this, I always, caution with them. And what I mean by that is the folks at home, because they help me make these decisions. Sometimes they veto me and I veto them, but some way we try to have fun and just meet in the middle. But for anything that's next year's, we try to counter or just debunk altogether, because this ain't really like a dynasty type thing. So that when you put a third for next year, that's not really gonna. Now we will trade ours. We play a little dirty pool. We will trade ours, but we won't accept theirs. So now Arizona, they want to trade our 25th and 129 for their 35, 65, and 104. Now what I like about this is they give us the points. So they're saying that the value offered for Arizona is 286 and ours is 249. So that's a considerable trade. That would be, to me, that'd be worth it. Just so you could see what's out there, get an idea. Now, I don't really like.
If you want to go with that Arizona trade, fire away, man. If you want to go with that,
I'd see. Look at you. Look at
your call, man.
Look at you. You went from not wanting to trade to like, hey, man, this is a little tantalizing. And honestly, it's not like we're trading our 25th and a 7th for a first. It's like we're not playing real dirty pool. This is pretty reasonable. It's pretty realistical. Now, I will say this. One last one. Indiana, not the Bears yet. 47-78 in the second rounder next year, and Chicago's 25 for 241. I don't really like that one. If we were going to go, this is just my 2 cents, okay? If we were going to go out of all these, not the Colts, Arizona looks good. Second best for me is the Bengals, but for me, if I'm going to trade and get it done, I like Arizona, man, So, yeah. If you want to do that, we'll go ahead and do that. I know the folks at home want to do that. They love making trades, man. So you're going to make them really happy. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Like you said, we only moved back a few. You're the mathematician here. What'd you say? Nine spots. Yeah, and then we give them 129 for pick 65 and 104. Wow. So we get an extra whole pick on top of that, baby. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and pull the pin on that. Now, we are, just so you know, I'm going to hide this really quick so you could see what we're saying no to. At pick 19 or 25, Peter Woods fell to us again. He's at 19, so, there's a good value there picking Peter Woods. He was supposed to project at 19, get him at 25, or Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, or Caden McDonald, Ohio State defensive tackle. Akeem Mesidor is there available, edge Miami. So those are some pretty good picks, but I still feel pretty good about loading up there on that trade offer. What say you?
Yeah, sounds good. Pull the trigger.
Okay. I just have to let you know, I can't just we don't want to show him that. So he'll go ahead and accept the trade, So, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Now all of a sudden Colts are back in on it. They really want to, they're playing desperate. That's kind of embarrassing. So, okay. Right off the rip, you got Caden Proctor at 23, offensive tackle, Alabama, Colton Hood, cornerback, Tennessee. Now, is it interesting that I feel like either you and I are not really that desperate to reach? And I don't know if that's a reach at 34. You get a guy that was supposed to be 23, offensive tackle, Caden Proctor, Alabama. He's probably one of the best in the draft, but we're still willing to look beyond that and see what else is available. We're not like, oh, we got to have him, at least that's how I feel. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think Proctor's a good player. I just, where the Bears are right now, I think they would, again, we talk about how you got to balance your DB with your DPA. I think, Proctor's going to be a good football player, but, if you really trust and believe Ozzie Trapillo will be back for yourself next year, I think you stay away from offensive tackle. You go defense with the first pick.
Go defense. Okay, so we'll look for defense first. And right now we have cornerback Colton Hood from Tennessee at 32. Obviously, we don't need a quarterback. How good does that feel? We could just go ahead and pass that right up. Offensive tackle Max Ionacre, Arizona State. Guard Texas A&M, Chase Bisonis. Oh, there you go. Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech. Now, that is the first defensive player that kind of jumps out at me. Now, we are jumping 6 spots to get him, but I feel okay about that because that's a guy that really we wanted. That's a guy we really wanted. And we already are in the second round, so it's not like we're reaching.
You are, yeah.
Yeah, we're at 34, so it's not like we're like, oh, we're in the first round, pick 25, and we're getting, a guy that's in the second. We're in the second getting a second is what I'd say.
Yeah.
Our draft, grade will be bad. But like I said, you want me to look at edge for you real quick and some other defensive tackles before we make this calculative decision, or safety, or what do you?
You may have to take a peek at it. You got another pick coming up in the second round, so you might want to.
Yeah. So you got
how things are going to fall here for you.
You got Malachi Lawrence, edge UCF, and Zion Young, pick 48, edge Missouri. Now, I will say this. I do think Zion Young drops considerably off of 48. I don't even think anymore that's reasonable to keep him up there like that. Lee Hunter, defensive tackle, Texas Tech 43. Grace Halton, which, the Bears have been talking to him. They showed up at his pro day against, his defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. So those guys are what's popping off at me right now. Safety, AJ Halsey, safety out of LSU, pick 46, Genesis Smith, 53, and then it drops to like 70 for Kamari Ramsey, safety out of USC. And then Kilgore, South Carolina, safety Lewis Moore to Indiana. We're really dropping there if we reach that far, but that's what's available right there. That's where we're at. So I would say either, I don't know, edge or linebacker would be the choice right here. And if I'm reading this correctly, my assignment is to go get Jacob Rodriguez at pick 34.
Do it. Go get him.
Okay. All right. You are now a Chicago Bear, sir. Okay, here's one. So Houston wants our pick 57 for their pick 59, and they're giving us 243. Now it shows that their value offers 92 and our value offers 96. So this is lopsided. Although they're getting us a late 7th round draft pick, it's not worth it, is what I'm seeing. So we can go ahead and pick. That's the only trade that's available right now. Now we could go back to back and get another linebacker because Anthony Hill's available, or we can go look at your edge, and you've got for first edge available is edge from Oklahoma, Mason Thomas. Now defensive tackle, you got Lee Hunter. He dropped 14 spots. He's supposed to be projected 43 out of Texas Tech, defensive tackle Lee Hunter, and we're at pick 57 right now. So that would be a huge upsize if we went and got that dude. If we still are looking at defense, if you still want to stay on defense, that would be best player available, I would say right now, is that defensive tackle Lee Hunter from Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think Hunter, he's going to be a good pro. I mean, he's a little bigger, a little taller.
Yeah.
But again, he's got the Bears. There's any bodies, right? I mean, like I said,
yes,
they've only got a few guys up front that can really do much for you. Grady Jarrett is probably his last year in Chicago. So you've got to make sure you've got some guys ready there. He's not like the quickest. He's not like a classic 3 tech. But he can eat some space. He's quick enough to kind of shoot gaps if he has to do it. I think Hunter's going to be a good pro. Again, I talk about his size, and he just got big wingspan.
Yeah.
He knows how to use his hands too. He can shoot them up and knock down some of those balls. That's what, like I said, that's what Benefell wants. He wants that pressure up the gut.
Yeah.
He wants those big guys inside there, and I think that'll work for him.
Well, let me ask you a question. V-Dog wants to know, 1951, shout out to V-Dog. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button, y'all. He asked a question for Lester. Do you see us, Lester, adding some D-line help over this second wave of free agency, or do we just attack defense mainly in the draft, is what he's asking.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to add someone. I mean, you can't, like I said, you can't just go into the draft with this many holes in the roster. I mean, right now, who's your third edge right now? I mean, do you really have any trust in? I mean, a lot of people want to see Booker as your 3. You want to have someone else, another guy in there. So I think if something materializes, there's been a lot of Cameron Jordan buzz. He's a little older, but at this point in his career, he understands who he is. Right? He's only playing half the reps as it is. He gets that about himself. Did you want him? I see he's still kind of floating around out there. So I think there's some few guys out there that you kind of can trust to kind of come in and just get some reps for you.
Yeah.
While you get your rookies up to speed.
Okay, yeah. You know what? I couldn't say it better. And it keeps everybody honest, right? I mean, the best way to have any sort of, to make iron sharpen iron is have a little competition within the ranks, a healthy competition, not a negative one. I think you have to have some competition on the team because, listen, Lester, if you're the upperclassman, you might let your guard down knowing that you're going to start over me every time. But if I'm working really hard and I'm drinking my milk, and I'm getting a little bit more weights in, I'm running around the block, and you're just kind of like, I'm just going to eat my Totino's pizza rolls and just, I'm starting, dude. Guess what? I guess you're not, as a coach, you're not really doing the team that, given the best player available to play on Sunday if you're just like, oh, because he's an upperclassman. And I kind of like the way that, you look at these guys that are UDFAs, that come out here, the Cinderella stories. And I think that kind of speaks volume for what, you look at Coach Johnson and what Ben wants to do. And it's like every UDA across the country is probably like, dude, let's write a letter. Let's do whatever we can do. Knock on the door, give Ben Johnson a little TikTok, I don't know, whatever it takes, shake something out of the tree. We might get to start over there. I think it's good. So,
yeah, like I said, they got to move some egg. I think that's going defensive line here in round.
Go defensive line. Yeah. Okay. So let's go Lee Hunter. So we got him. Now, Giants want to pick 60 for 105 and next year's second. We're going to reject that. I think it's time to go ahead, pick another pick. Now, I will say this. We could go ahead and go back to back and get another defensive tackle in Grayson Halton. He was supposed to be at 65. We're at pick 60. Our next pick after this is actually 65 because remember that trade. Now we're already able to pick another pick right after this one. So it's up to you where you want to go, but I will say that's defensive tackle. After that, it's Daryl Jackson at pick 84 and then Dominic Orange. Edge, you've still got Mason Thomas and Joshua Joseph's edge from Tennessee and Jabe Jacques edge out of Illinois, 85. Linebacker, Josiah Trotter. Remember his father and his brother, his older brother, have played in the league. And so that's kind of cool. Now, once somebody said earlier that they would have picked Jake Galladay, that linebacker is available from Cincinnati, 83. They said they would pick him over, what do you call it earlier? The one that you were, was it Rodriguez? Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that they would pick Galladay. He's still available at 83, and we're at 60, and then we got to pick at 65. Now, safety, we got Genesis Smith, safety Arizona, 53 is what his projection is. Then Lewis Moore, 79, Indiana, or Jalen Kilgore, safety out of South Carolina, and then Bud Clark, 111. So that's where our safeties are at. What position, or do you want to shift gears over to offensive line or offense right now, or stay at defense? Are you going to go three-peat all defense right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, the way the board is stacked and the way the depth looks and the way the Bears' needs kind of line up with that, I think it's best kind of to stick with defense.
Okay. What position would you like? Did any of those names intrigue you?
You mentioned Jacques from Illinois. I mean, I've watched a little bit of his stuff. He was I did a mock earlier this mock season, and like when I'm doing mocks to learn about the prospect. So I had Jacques come up in one of my mocks.
Okay.
So I watched a little film on him, and he seems like a guy that would really fit the Dennis Allen mold. Strong at the point of attack. He can set the edge, plays the run well. Pretty good athlete as well. So I think he's a guy that would kind of fit with Dennis Allen a lot.
Well, now it's funny that you say that because remember the guy that we highlighted earlier, Dennis Sutton, edge out of Penn State. He's at 103. So if we jump and get, or we actually hopefully Gabe Jacques will slide to us because he's projected 85 and we're 89. If we miss him, we can still get Dennis Sutton. So maybe our edge, our sweet spot is in the 89 to 104. So we can stay off that edge right now and potentially go after your linebacker or safety right now if that is what is something that might interest you. And again, best player available for linebacker is Josiah Trotter, linebacker from Missouri. I do know that a lot of people are saying draft 3rd through 5th round is where you want to potentially look at getting a center. I would almost wager 4th to 5th round would be better now that we have a solid center in place, so it's not really that much of a need, but still want to get at least a backup or a guy that can groom to, be our potential starter,
Yeah. I mean, the Bears have been doing work on center. I mean, they've been at a couple pro days.
Yeah.
Specifically working out centers.
Sure.
So that's something I think we want to get. Look, but I think Garrett Bradbury is going to be fine.
Yeah.
for the Bears this year, but this is his contract year. He's 31 years old.
Okay.
If he has a good year, maybe you bring him back. But I think getting a center at some point in the draft, is something that Bears are definitely going to want to do this year.
Best player available right now is from Alabama, Parker Brailsford, 72 pick right there. So that'd be a reach. But later on, you could get Connor Lew out of Auburn. I've heard a lot of good stuff about him. That's pick 80. And then it drops from there. Brian Parker, 98. Guard, you could get Jennings Dunker out of Iowa. You already know about the offensive lineman out of Iowa there. I don't know if you're ready for a guard just yet, but pick 64, and then it falls to 106 afterwards. So big drop after that. Offensive tackle, you got Demetrius Crownover, offensive tackle, Texas A&M, pick 60, and we're at 60. And then Caleb Tiernan out of Northwestern, 76. So, that's where I would say, you're looking at, or you could get into running back or receiver or tight end. But if offensive line goes, that's where you're at with that. So, again, it's all depending on where you want to go, offense or defense, but that's what we have available, sir. So,
yeah, I think defense makes the most sense.
Defense?
You're still in the top,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're at number 60 here. You can find a guy at, whether it's edge, whether it's safety.
What about cornerback? Do you think cornerback's that big of a need, or you think we're still kind of good yet where we could just pick a guy up later? Because right now, this guy, Keith Abney from Arizona State, he was projected 44, and we're at pick 60. Talk about big value picking up him at 60 right now, And if we look at him, what's his 5'10", 187. See, I don't know if that's what we're looking for, a guy that's 5'10", 5'11", 190. PFSN of 92.9.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears go corner at some point. I mean, look, you got Tyree Stevenson this year.
Yeah.
He wasn't, he couldn't get his job back last year, so you got to wonder how much his coaching staff really likes him.
Sure.
You do got Charles Smith coming back. You got Dave Frazier coming back.
Yeah.
So you got a couple bodies that you didn't have last year. So, but again, Stevenson's this last year of his contract. So if you don't trust him to be long term, maybe you do draft cornerback at some point. So that's always an option.
Would you be good with getting one here or getting Genesis Smith, the safety out of Arizona? Because he was picked 53 and we're at 60. So that'd still be a 7-point value for us, Or we could go get that edge Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. We get that edge Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. He was 63 and we're at 60 right now.
Yeah, like I said, a defensive end or a safety, one of those are the way to go here. Those are two players, two positions that are high on the board and also fit a need. I think one of those two guys makes the most sense.
Let's go with the edge. I feel like edge is where to go right now because we already got that defensive tackle. Now we're fortifying that D line. Let's grab Mason Thomas. I think could be. So we'll go ahead and grab him. Okay, so that's done. Dallas wants to trade us. I don't like their trade. It's not good for us. But so now we're right back. We're at 65, so we can pick another guy, another impactful guy yet still. I mean, dude, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys in top 100, 4 guys in the top 70. So we're cooking, brother. Do you want to look at safety now? Oh, you've got Lewis Moore out of Indiana. Now it's a reach, and I like Jalen Kilgore, and I was talking to DNice, Darius, and he really likes Kilgore out of South Carolina. He is 6'1", 210 with a near 10 RAS. We're not really that interested in RAS like we were before, but it's worth noting for that. So if you want to get a safety, we could pick that up in 89. But cornerback 44, that Abney's still there at corner. Or we could grab our linebacker. Josiah Trotter's available, 68 from Missouri. If you're interested in getting him. Or we could double down and get that's a reach for defensive tackle. What about if we go back and look at center? You want to go look at center right now?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. You got Parker Brailsford, Alabama, 72. That's only a 7-point reach. That's doable. And I know, Would you say that that's the most important position that we need to draft this draft for offensive line, or would you think it would be tackle?
I think they might want to get a tackle. They may get a tackle late. I think getting a guy with some center guard versatility makes more sense early.
Okay.
Because, like you said, you're probably going to look to replace Bradbury. Unless he has a phenomenal year, you're probably going to move on from him after this season.
Okay. So
Tooney probably got maybe a couple more years left, but yeah, I think getting a guy that can kind of play on the interior, it makes the most sense. Then like I said, you have Ozzie back next year. You kind of see how that goes.
Yeah. We already got Jacob Rodriguez, so we got our linebacker, we got our defensive tackle, we got our edge. Let's go after center. Let's get Parker Brailsford out of Alabama, pick 72. All right, we got him. Now our next pick is 89. So we've got a lot of flexibility now because we did a lot of good things right. No good picks here. I think we just stay the course and draft from here on out, if you agree. Best player available, it's 79. Lewis Moore, safety out of Indiana. He dropped, dude, from he's projected 79. We're at 89. We could go get our safety right now.
There you go. You got your safety, Indiana, and the national champs.
Yeah, national champs, baby. Got that. Yep, pedigree. Okay, so here's an interesting one. The Bears. We have pick 104. The Giants really want it. They're willing to give us 105 and 193. So they're giving us 5 extra value offered points. They got 38. We got 33. We're only dropping one spot, and this gives us an extra pick. For me, it's a no-brainer. Are you good with that?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's do that one. That's a good one.
I don't think there's a whole lot that you're going to like, oh, God, I had to have that guy. That I'm winning the draft because, 104. Okay. So here we go. Now we've got a ton of flexibility, man. You could go in any direction at all. Where are you going right now with this one? So far, as it stands, Lester Wiltfong has got us Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, Texas Tech, Lee Hunter, defensive tackle, edge Mason Thomas, Oklahoma, Parker Brailsford, center, Alabama, and safety from Indiana, Lewis Moore. So we got a safety, a center, an edge, a defensive tackle, and a linebacker. Where would you like to go next? Is right now?
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the draft, it's kind of like looks BPA. You still need another defensive lineman because, like I said, you've only got a couple, and the way the roster stands now, you really need depth there. So if there's a good defensive lineman available on the board, I think that's where you go there.
Okay. Right now, the best player available is a tight end from Ohio State, Max Clare, and then another tight end from Baylor, Michael Trigg, then a wide receiver from Mississippi State, then a cornerback, Hezekiah Massis. You got Isaiah World, offensive tackle from Oregon. That might be where you could go out and get your tackle secured. Cornerback, tight end, linebacker, Aiden Fisher. We already got our linebacker. We're good on that, unless you want to double down on linebacker. 115, you got Chris McClellan out of Missouri, defensive tackle there. Let's take a look at him. 6'4", 313, so another tall guy. Another tall guy right there. 34-inch arms. So that's a big guy right there. One gapper. As a one gapper from 3 technique and adjacent alignments. He's exciting pass rush upside if he can continue to refine his pass rush plan and counter consistency. So I think that this guy could fit the bill as playing multiple positions on our line. Might be a good, depth piece, maybe potential starter in the future. Like I said, we're at 105 and that's pick 115. That's not too rich for my blood. If you're looking for
that works. I mean, look,
yeah. Okay.
I think defensive linemen, like I said, right now, like at edge, you got Sweat and you got Austin Booker. That's pretty much all you got on your roster.
Sure.
Shamar Turner's coming back from injury. Dale's coming back from an injury.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle. You got one there in a draft with Hunter, but you need more depth there. Grady Jarrett's probably on his last year. Javon Dexter's in his contract year. He may not be back, next season.
I got
you. Picked up Neville Gallimore, but besides those 3, man, you really need more. I mean, you're looking to rotate at least 4 guys deep in each one of those positions.
Yeah.
So, throwing some more bodies at that spot is always a good idea.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're talking to Lester Wiltfong from Windy City Gridiron, chief editor there for many years. Please make sure you like and subscribe our show, Chicago Sports Podcast. Leave a comment. And thanks again for all you guys showing up on this wonderful evening. Now, we're at pick 193 for our draft, man, and you are killing it. But we do need to get an offensive lineman, a tackle at that. Diego Pounds, solid football name, right? Pounds. Offensive tackle, Ole Miss at 192. We're looking for depth now, like you were talking about. 6'6", 325, 9.22 RAS is the only thing that they're giving us on this guy. But like I said, we're 193. This guy's 192. Pull the trigger?
Yeah, you may as well.
Okay. All right. So now we went ahead and secured our tackle that we needed, so desperately needed. And now, I mean, we've done our due diligence in this draft. I mean, we've done pretty good. Now, where would you be at right now? What are you looking at? Do you want to grab another safety? Do you want to grab a receiver? Do you want to get a running back? Where are you standing right now in this draft? You got 2 more picks left, 239 and 241.
I mean, if you're looking to fill roster needs, I mean,
yes,
you really need a third tight end. You lost Durham Smythe in free agency.
Okay.
There's really no one else on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
You can find a guy that kind of fits that same kind of role that kind of can, play that blocking Y, kick back, play a little H-back, fullback stuff for you. I think it's a tight end. And then again, we talk about the depth of the class. I was talking to Jacob, and he's like, yeah, it's a pretty decent tight end class as well. So maybe a tight end fell down that board for you.
We got a horned frog, man. TCU, bro. DJ Rogers. We lost a DJ, but we get a DJ. And Rogers, 6'4", 258. He says, I don't want to talk about my RAS, so it's not available. He's well-rounded, two-face tight end prospect. He redshirted in 2021. He only caught 7 passes there through first 3 seasons. 2024, though, he was more involved as a primary tight end, and he saved his best for last, catching 34 passes for 319 yards and 2 touchdowns, while putting up a PFSN tight end impact score of 78.6. So solid. They say he doesn't have elite explosion, speed, or quickness, but at least passes the requisite of threshold in all athletic categories. So route runner, solid route tree runner, very good functional system IQ there, range to threaten vertically, and as a blocker, while he can still improve, he has good power profile. So yeah, man, excels in his this is a guy, I mean, dude, this late in the draft, get a body, right? This guy could work. So yeah,
you need a guy that come in and kind of play that third tight end role. Of course, the Bears want to play a lot of double tight stuff.
Yep. But
they want to get that third guy that can kind of come in and spell you. And like you said, he's a work in progress as a run blocker. But look, get him with some NFL coaches, kind of shore that part of his game up.
Yeah.
He's been a pretty good receiver in the past, so he can kind of play that as well. So yeah, I think that's a good guy to get now.
Okay. Thank you. Now, last but not least, last pick of the draft. Got to ask you a question, man. Don't want to put you on the hot seat. Kind of already did, though, when I had you call in the hotline. Do you think that we're going to get rid of our backup QB? Do you think that Tyson Bagent could potentially be traded for a draft pick, say day 2, day 3, maybe 3rd rounder, 4th rounder? And if so, how do you pick him up out of the draft, or do you pick him up out of free agency, or is that kind of why we re-signed our 3rd string quarterback to a pretty hefty deal for a 3rd string,
Yeah, I think they're going to hold on to Bagent one more year.
Okay.
It depends what, there were some, we heard the Cardinals had an offer on the table.
Yeah.
It never really got to where the Bears were serious about entertaining it.
Sure.
I just think where the Bears are right now, it makes more sense for them to kind of hold on to Bagent. Let him have one more preseason. If he has another good because look, this is what the hype is, right? The hype's off because no one's seen him play, right, except for as a rookie, and that film wasn't the best. But in the preseason, the last few years, he looked pretty good. That's what these teams are looking at right now, is his preseason film.
Yeah.
Maybe he gets into a game or two during the season, and now all of a sudden there is an actual market for him next year.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's something you look at them. But I think this year, just hold on to him, see what happens. You said you got Keenum back as your number 3. Let Bajan and Caleb both kind of sit in their room and kind of learn from that case Keenum.
But here's the deal, though. You got him controlled for 2 years, so you got way more value right now than next year, because next year is pretty much just like 1-year rental, I would say. So maybe there's a little bit more value now. But I agree with you, because really, you go back and you go look at the really good, GMs of the league, and that's kind of malpractice if you don't have a backup quarterback whenever a guy moves. I mean, remember Peyton Manning, the year after he was gone, they only had 2 wins. And, hey, he even talked this morning about it actually on, the NFL Network. He was like, that was my fault. Sometimes it's, it sucks when people lose their job. I lost my job and I own it. I should have done better. If Caleb goes down and you get rid of Tyson Bagent, and now all of a sudden that was the guy that we had, this looks really bad. So I'm kind of behind you on this one. Actually, it's not worth a draft pick at that point, because it could happen at any point in this league. If you look all the way around the league, quarterbacks go down left and right, and you want a guy to just come in for what, 2-3 games, you'd say, not for that much, long. So, and just probably get 500 at best. So,
I mean, that's the goal, right? If you had to bring your backup in, let's just get by, right? Let's just go 500, hopefully.
Yeah.
But look, I think Bateman's a pretty good quarterback. He knows how to run an offense.
Yeah, I agree.
That you hold on to him,
sure.
See what happens. If he has a nice preseason, like you said, injuries happen. So what happens if all of a sudden a starting quarterback gets injured, and now someone's looking for a guy, and now all of a sudden Bateman's value goes up. Look, I think if someone offered the Bears a second rounder for him, I think he'd be wherever.
That's hard. That's so hard to pass up, right, bro? Gosh.
But the way it is right now, I just got a feeling it's going to be it makes the most sense for the Bears. They're going to keep him, ride it out, see what happens, and then possibly move him next year if something materializes. But look, they love him in that room, though. I mean, he's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
They like what he brings. He likes the energy he brings in there.
Oh, yeah.
He's a good teammate.
Sure.
I think it's the guy you hold on to.
Very important. All good points, man. Lester Wiltfong, man. You guys check him out. Follow him. He's a great writer, editor. He's solid, man. Check this guy out. Windy City Gridiron. So listen, we're not going to get a quarterback. So where do we go? Where do I turn our attention to? Wide receiver, defensive tackle, edge, BPA. Right now, BPA is a QB. After that, it's a receiver, Romello Brinson out of SMU. So, I mean, or what do you think, man? What's our running back? Noah Winnington out of Oregon. Where are we at here?
Yeah, man, there's a speedy running back down there. Look, you can find running backs late. You can find them at UDFAs.
Okay. Yeah.
The Bears are content with the 2 guys they got, but
sure.
I mean, they lost Travis Homer. They are. I mean, Roshan Johnson's still there, but he hasn't really done much as a pro. So if you can find another running back to add to the mix, a guy that can play special teams for you.
Sure.
I'm not sure about this guy here, if that's what Noah Whittington does for you, but if he gets some special teams value and kind of covers some kicks,
yeah,
there he is. There's no RAS for him. He didn't do the combine.
Oh, he didn't do is that what that means? Okay. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
If he doesn't have a relative athletic score, that means he didn't have his pro day yet, or he didn't do the combine.
Okay. Well, Jamari Taylor, same thing. C'est la vie. Chip Trayman, same thing. South Alabama. Yeah.
Or it just hasn't been updated through Pro Football.
I got you. Yeah, that might be it too. Le'Veon Moss, running back, Texas A&M, impressive 4.4 yards after contact per carry. Oh, I like this. With his top speed, fluidity, and balance, Moss has flashed NFL caliber traits, but his durability casts a shadow on his long-term upside. Oh boy. Yeah, we need some durability here, man. We can't have you 5'6", 174. I think this guy's a fast guy. Pittsburgh, man. Let's get this guy. He brought same impact Pittsburgh, racking up 1,500 yards, fluid. I like him. Let's grab this guy and let's finish the show out. How about that? Out of Pittsburgh, good running back here. Desmond Reed. Boom. Here's Chicago Bear. All right, man. Well, that's it. That concludes our show. Lester Wiltfong, tell everybody where they could find you and what you got going next real quick.
Yeah, everything I write is at Windy City Gridiron. All my podcast and video stuff is on the Second City Gridiron podcast, the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow me on the socials at Wiltfong JR.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, thanks for helping us out. Appreciate you, man. And you have yourself a good night, okay?
Sounds like you're going to take it easy, Track.
All right. Take it easy. Bye. So that's it. That's it for our caller for tonight. Yeah, everybody, thanks for showing up and showing out. That was our mock draft. I hope you guys all had a good time and enjoyed the show. I know I did. And you guys, it was awesome to hang out with you once again, I would say. Yeah, I think that's pretty much concludes our show. If there's anything else that you guys want to bring up really quick, again, thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, we will have something tomorrow night. I think DNice is on by himself. I got to work a double, so he'll be on and he's going to get into some stuff. See what tomorrow's show is on deck. And then Thursday, we're tentatively going to have Singletary on, NFL Hall of Famer Mike Singletary. And he's going to talk to us. He is going to talk to us, man. He's going to call in and we're going to talk. Oh, man, we're going to talk about Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. We're going to talk about all that. Kevin O'Connell, NFC North, Jordan Love. We're going to talk about the NFC North and linebackers with Mike Singletary. So we'll be able to, pick his brain and stuff. So everybody, thanks again for showing up and showing out. I love and appreciate your guys' questions for Lester. He did too. He loves coming on this show. If you want to leave a message, and I know Doug is supposed to for the last 2 days in a row and hasn't yet, but other guys like Lewis has came through and, that's been great. Leave a message, comment, or question for the show. 872-256-1424. 872-256-1424. Thanks again, everybody. Appreciate you. Chi-Town up, bear down.
Hops on the ice, red lights flash, goods in the summer, whole city mad. Track sick of tone, lingering for the sound. City ride with it, yeah, this our town. It's Chicago. Fucking hell, we live in Chicago. Sports podcast, yeah, we in it. Cut the take, cut the call. Whole city tell you when we turn the ball.